this is my rotor table. Started off as a simple little ditty, like everything else. Turns out into a bloody big job. Basically, what I did with this, I just made what's really just a bench. Made a bench. I decided to put an hinge on the top. As you can see, the rotor itself is mounted here. It's a 1200 watt Bosch unit, the rotor itself. Reason I decided to go with this way is because to change a bit you have to get obviously at the collet, and with that being under here it's much easier to do it like this. It literally takes seconds to change it. So that was the idea of that, which seems to have worked. Now, once it's shut down, secured, the next problem I had was to raise it. You have to lift the lid and then shove the rotor up by hand to get it roughly where you wanted it. You couldn't get it like exactly how high you wanted it. Then get it as near as damn it and lock it, which is obviously a waste of bloody time. So I decided I needed a lift on it to be able to raise it. So I've had to disable the lock on it to lock it in position, so it's just free moving now on its plungers. And what I've done under here is I put some stairs across my bench, measured it all up and everything, put a piece of hardwood across it at the exact height I needed it, and I bought a jack. I bought it from Roy's in town, 12 quid it were. I bought that, and it's just a straightforward scissor jack. If I'd have been in Bolton, I'd have got one from the flaming scrapyard, but that cost me 12 quid. But the thing is, I can turn that, and it's infinitely adjustable, as you'll see the rotor bit coming up there now, if you can see it. So I can adjust that really, as fine as I need to do, with a rule on top at the side of it, and I can get a really accurate adjustment on the height now of the actual bit itself. So that worked okay. This black section here, it's called a rotor table insert plate, and it's some sort of special bloody plastic. It's only about just over 1/4 inch thick, but it doesn't bend or anything. It's solid. It's more like a Bakelite stuff. The centre rings, they actually pull out, so if you want to put a bigger bit in, you can do. But this actual plate unit here, that cost me 50 quid, that. And it took a lot of bloody fitting in here, because you've got it, it's got to be spot on, exactly flush with the table. I wouldn't say it was exact to a thou, but it's as near as bloody damn it. The next problem I had with this was this fence. Ignore these metal things here. The fence was basically just sat on here, and it was held on at each end by wood going underneath the table. But the trouble was, to move the fence, you had to use two hands on either end, because otherwise it went like that and just got stuck. Again, complete waste of time. So what I did, I bought these. These are out of drawer slides. I bought these. It cost me under a tenner for the pair, but the decent ones, and they're on ball bearings. so they're really smooth. Now I can do it with ease. I can move it with ease with one hand, and it moves nice and square and nice and easy. So again, that's quite good. I bought myself this off eBay, which is it's a self-adhesive tape measure basically. Made out of very thin plastic, more of a like a polypropylene stuff. So just get that in the right place and stick that on. What I did, I lined the centre of the actual bit up, and I've lined it up to 13 inches. So that is on 13 inch now, so I know that's dead in centre of that. So then by calculating the width of your bit, you can get it exact on here. The reason I chose 13 inches, if I'd have had it at 0, if I'd have put 0 there, then the tape would have all gone that way or this way. So I wouldn't have had a run either way, without putting two tape measures on, which I didn't really want to do. But the reason I've chose 13 inch is because 13 inch is also exactly 33 centimetres, 330 mil. So you've got a 0 starting point there of 13 inches. So it's easy to put a couple of mil on, or whatever, a quarter inch on, either way, because you know that 33 centimetres or 13 inch is exactly the centre. It's only because those two line up. If I'd have gone it for 12 inch, then I'd have had to go to 35 on here. It's 30.5. It's just easier that way on 13 because they line up. So that give me that. So I've got the exact measurements. The fence itself, these screws that you can see, they go right through to the other side, obviously. But they're not screws as such, they're bolts. And they've got a wing nut on the back, and I can slide these. Now, what I can do with that is to, so that the width of the bit that I put in there, I can adjust that up to the width of the bit. That stops the bit from ripping the actual job itself, the work. If it's more or less touching the bit, then it's not going to rip it. Not going to rip the wood that you're actually running through it. And they both slide. The top section, that's there for good. That doesn't move. The holes in it, basically, they're for jigs that I've made. That's what this is for. Either for whatever type of jig that you want to put in there. One of the jigs, I'll just get one that I've made for that. Everything's full of bloody dust in here. This is one of the jigs I've got. Basically, that goes on there. My bolts are over here. They just slot through and just nip up. And what that does, this one is designed for a 10mm or a 3/8 bit. And all you do with this is, once that's in place, you can get, let's go over here. This is not the right type of thing, and I'm breaking it a bit, but basically what you do with this, you put that up to the stop, then you would, once that's in your stop, that's all secure, you just pull that forwards and your 10mm bit will cut that hole. This is off a different jig, so that's why I don't line up. But once you've done that, cut that first one in it, that fits over there, but obviously with a 10mm one it would be exact, and then you do the next one, and you keep doing that, and you end up with this. On the second one then, if you put 10mm, another 10mm gap in, piece in there, then this one, you move up to that piece, which should be that way. So that would move up to that piece, so it would cut here. So it cuts them offset, so that when you come to put them together, they will actually line up. This is just a rough one that I've made, and by using plywood it's splintered it. But you get the idea, but it makes a perfect, what the Yanks call a finger joint. And that's basically what you get. But makes a damn good joint. So I've made several of these, with all different, to take all different sizes. I've actually done one for the 1/4 inch, but that's all it is. But yeah, so this is basically my routing table, and it works very well. Also the dust extraction, which you can't actually see, it's a box on the other side of this that's fastened on, so it's extracted from there. It also extracts from underneath. That was a built-in part of the actual rotor that has that on. So I've had to take 2 pipes from it, 2 hoses, connect them together, and then I've fastened them into the wife's old Dyson Hoover. Mains wise, under here is a double socket, so I've got the rotor plugged in one and I've got the Hoover plugged in the other. The double socket is fed from this switch unit, and the switch unit goes to the mains. Now these switch units, if you get one with the big red button on it and then a little green button to start and stop, them are the best ones, but they're very expensive. They're about 30, 40, 50 quid, because it's a magnetic unit. Basically what they do is, if I'm using this and I switch it off at the socket, if I switch it off at the mains, then the off switch will ping out. That's it then, it's off. It will actually turn the switch unit off. Once there's no supply, it turns off. What that does is, if this is turned on and I switch the mains on, this is going to kick up straight away. But with the magnetic units they can't do that, it switches it off once you turn the mains on. This unit isn't one of them. This I paid 6 quid for, off eBay, and it's off a sewing machine, industrial sewing machine. Now it works fine, does the job, you know, great, but you have to remember you turn it off on here. When you finish using it, turn it off here, then turn the mains off. If you turn the mains off first, when you turn it back on again, this will still be, it'll kick up, it'll be on. So, but the difference between 6 and 50 quid, it didn't warrant me buying the other one. It's a bit noisy, but that's just the nature of the beast. But it works fantastic. I got some little clips that clip on either side. Once those are clipped up, it's solid then, it won't move then. So it's dead easy. I can just move it where I want it. That's it, it's solid. Plus it's a good bit of kit. I've not actually used it for anything as such really. I have little bits, but the actual thing was actually making it. That's what I enjoyed doing. All I ever seem to do is make things like this and make jigs. I don't actually build anything apart from firewood and sawdust. But anyway, that's that. That's the rotor table.